from the moment Meghan Markle allegedly whispered, "I don't love Prince Harry," into a friend's ear, the foundations of one of the world's most scrutinized marriages seemed to crack open like a fault line. Imagine the shock. A couple who once vowed for better or worse under St. George's Chapel vaults, now facing whispers of emotional distance straight from the Duchess's own lips. For fans who watched their fairy tale wedding and subsequent flight from Buckingham Palace, this revelation was neither small nor subtle. It threatened to rewrite everything we thought we knew about their partnership. But that wasn't the whole story. Long before those chilling words circulated, insiders say Meghan's emotional detachment had been simmering in plain sight. Observers pointed to Harry standing in the background at public events, shoulders slumped as Meghan delivered speeches and walked red carpets. At a London gala last spring, body language experts noted Meghan avoiding Harry's touch, her gaze flicking away when he tried to reach for her hand. It was the kind of detail headline writers drool over, a subtle misalignment of two people once famously in sync. As rumors swirled, friends suggested Meghan felt unheard and stifled by the very marriage she once claimed saved her. But at the time, few wanted to believe that the couple who renounced royal life together might actually be growing apart. And the sacrifice on Harry's end? It ran deeper than anyone realized. Harry walked away from titles, financial stipends, his role as a frontline British royal. And for what? To create a new life in California, away from the palace camera lenses and tabloid vultures. He cut himself off from a support system he'd known his whole life, a monarchy that at least offered structure, if not always unconditional love. He traded that for Netflix contracts and Hollywood parties, believing that he could shield Meghan from the same scrutiny he'd endured. Yet today, some say he's quietly spiraling, struggling with the knowledge that all those trade-offs might not have been enough to keep Meghan by his side. But Meghan didn't simply drift away. She charted a course towards solo success. Over the past year, she's signed lucrative deals, a multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix to produce documentaries and scripted shows, a separate agreement with Spotify to host a podcast that emphasizes her voice of empowerment. Friends close to Meghan say she's determined to reclaim control over her own narrative. An understandable move if, as insiders suggest, she felt smothered by royal protocol and a husband shadowed by family drama. In interviews, Meghan has described feeling torn between two worlds, constantly trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for me. On social media, she carefully curates an image of strength and independence. Yet the real tension, according to whispers in Hollywood circles, lies in a growing sense of emotional exhaustion, like her commitment to Harry no longer matches her drive for personal fulfillment. Then came the bombshell that no one saw coming. Sources claim Meghan admitted to confiding in friends that she's always been drawn to Prince William in a way beyond brotherly love. Suddenly, it wasn't just a marriage on the rocks. It was a triangle brewing in the public eye. Imagine William's dilemma. He spent years trying to rebuild his image after tabloid spats with his brother, focusing on charitable work and preparing to assume more duties as heir apparent. And now his sister-in-law was allegedly whispering that her heart was partially with him. Royal insiders say William is horrified, not because he reciprocates those feelings, but because he never asked to be dragged into this mess. The palace is said to be bracing for a potential PR nightmare that could undermine William's carefully curated role as the face of the modern monarchy he spent years crafting. But what about the kids? Archie, now 6 years old, and Lilibet, 3. They're far too young to understand flashing headlines and A-lister drama. Yet they're caught in the crossfire regardless. Close friends of the couple say both Meghan and Harry are determined to protect them, keeping their names out of tabloid blasts as much as possible. Still, if a split becomes official, questions loom large. Will Harry demand his children spend more time in England, perhaps returning to Kensington Palace lodgings? Will Meghan insist on a bi-coastal custody arrangement, jetting back to California for work while Harry shuttles between homes? Each option risks destabilizing the fragile sense of security the children have known since birth. And while royal advisors might try to intervene discreetly, at least two high-ranking courtiers worry that any custody battle in US or UK courts could be disastrous for the monarchy's public image, especially given how fiercely the tabloids would devour every filing, every argument over boarding schools or nannies. Public sentiment remains fractured. On one hand, Meghan supporters call her courageous, applauding her willingness to speak honestly about what she's needed. They frame her as a woman who refused to be silenced by royal tradition. On the other, critics argue that Harry's sacrifices have been monumental, abandoning a life he once embraced and defying his own family, and now Meghan's pulling back when he needs her most. Meanwhile, royal watchers in the UK quietly tally donations to local charities in William's name, as if to remind everyone that the monarchy remains an institution bigger than any one marriage. Behind palace walls, Buckingham Palace is reportedly holding crisis meetings. Strategists are said to be crafting talking points, emphasize that Harry and Meghan remain a family, highlight the couple's shared commitment to charities, and redirect attention toward William and Catherine's positive public initiatives. But insiders admit the palace is on thin ice. Any blatant attempt to spin or suppress facts could backfire, especially in an era where leaks leak faster than they can plug them. In hushed corridors, the senior aides whisper about whether the monarchy will survive a high-profile split this close to the throne line. The fear isn't just about PR. It's about stability. If Harry's marriage crumbles publicly, could that accelerate questions about William's own ability to lead? Could it fuel deeper Republican sentiment among younger Brits who already question the relevance of an inherited institution? And what happens next remains anyone's guess. Harry hasn't uttered a word in public about Meghan's alleged confession. His silence speaks volumes. Some friends say he's still holding out hope, clinging to memories of their early days, when they roamed the halls of Kensington Palace, dreaming of a life together. Others say he's quietly preparing for life as a single father, counting on his small circle of allies and stepping up his involvement with mental health initiatives, possibly as a coping mechanism. Meanwhile, Meghan keeps moving forward. Teasers for her next Netflix project have surfaced, hinting at a docuseries that tells women's stories you've never heard before. She's also scheduled speaking engagements this fall, where she'll be sharing lessons in self-empowerment. It's all part of a narrative she's building, one of autonomy, resilience, and a world beyond castles and crowns. But here's the thing. No matter how many deals she signs, no matter how many stages she commands, the question will always linger. Did she give up on Harry? Or did the pressures of a royal past simply suffocate something essential in their union? For Harry, the stakes are deeply personal. He once said he would follow Meghan anywhere. Now, if he's forced to redefine what anywhere means, perhaps back to Europe, perhaps into some new future, it could break more than just his heart. It could crack open the very idea that two people, even those with half the world's attention, can escape fate. So what does this mean for us watching at home? It means we're witnessing a pivot point in modern monarchy and modern marriage alike. Because when Meghan said she didn't love Harry the way she once did, it wasn't just a private confession. It was a rupture in a story so many people had invested in, both emotionally and financially. It was a reminder that fairy tales don't always end with happily ever after, especially when cameras are rolling and millions of followers are waiting for every twist. And as the next chapter looms, whether it's a split household custody agreement, a Netflix tell-all, or a behind-the-scenes palace intervention, one thing is clear: this saga is far from over. Regardless of where you stand, Team Meghan's truth-speaking or Team Harry's heartbreak, their choices ripple far beyond their personal lives. They touch the future of the monarchy, the court of public opinion, and our own beliefs about love under pressure. So keep watching, because the twists ahead promise to be as unpredictable as the moment that started it all, when a duchess's whisper sent shockwaves around the world. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. This is Sasha Spills signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.